Welcome to this module entitled Tips and Tricks in the Multiply Fabric Cutting Room. The tips you will find in this module are general guidelines. Every customer situation is different. Sometimes examples are due to bad practices, while others are due to constraints the customer has and cannot change. It's up to you to observe, question, and understand the situation fully. Let's take a closer look. So in this module, we will address the following topics: OEE, material efficiency, and layout. So as you know, OEE is based on three parameters, which are availability, performance, and quality. So the first criteria is availability. And the first question we need to ask is the cutter cutting most of the time? There are two key points you need to look at. The first one is the cutter waiting for the fabric? And the second, is the cutter stopped because of offloading? How do they manage their markers? In the first example, you can see that when you have shorter markers, you need positioning time in between. So for here, you can see that you have 4 minutes cutting time with 1 minute positioning time in between each marker. In the second example, for the same number of pieces, you have also 12 minutes cutting time in total, but you've only 1 minute positioning time before and after the marker. The second criteria is performance. How fast is the cutter cutting? You can see here the difference between non-optimized settings and optimized settings. So another question is how many plies per spread? So here is an example of an IX9. So for woven fabric with 2 mm laminated foam, it's 30 to 40 plies, and for PVC with 1 mm laminated foam, it's 18 to 22 plies. The third criteria is quality. Perhaps you have access to some dashboards that may indicate the scrap rate, for example. You can talk to the operator to find out more. What kind of quality issues do they have? For example, bad notches or fused pieces. Let's look at material efficiency. The first thing you have to look at is the buffer between pieces. For the IX series, it's around 3 mm. The next thing is the end losses. If the end losses are more than 5 cm, then we've got an axe for improvement. You can also look at the edge allowance. That should not be more than 2 cm. Next, let's look at the alignment of layers in the spread. Let's take an example of a company that spends 10 million on material. So let's imagine that they're using this marker at the moment, a marker with 5 mm of buffer, 5 cm end losses, and the total length is 1.537 meters. So what happens when we reduce the buffer from 5 mm to 2 mm? Even if we don't change the end losses? Well, you can see here that the marker length reduces to 1.483 meters, which means the total material savings are 3.5%. That corresponds to $350,000. Let's imagine optimizing the end losses, which means that we have a total material savings of 5.5%, which represents $550,000. So we need to make sure that we not only look at the machine, but also the process. So if we took, for example, 3 sets and put them together, we would make one full optimized marker from those 3 sets. So here in this example, you can see that material savings then accumulates to 7.7%, which represents $770,000. The last topic is layout. The best in class is 2 operators per cutting line. However, in some companies where they cut smaller pieces and so are offloading more, they need more operators. So we hope you found this tips and tricks module useful. Now it's up to you to go and get the information, to put it in Salesforce and make sure we all have the information necessary to be able to move forward with these customers.